All right, so let's talk about how you think Deshaun Watson is the greatest thing to happen to American history.
Man, right off the bat, yeah, you're gonna jump into that. So yo, man, all right, so you know how I do the football videos, I put it on YouTube. So really hesitant to touch that one, right? Because and
Hesitant, you were like,
you
"Yo, we
don't.
got to talk about this."
No, I know, no, we're definitely talking about
Word. All right,
right?
all right.
But what I'm saying is, was really intent to talk about it on my YouTube page because YouTube, if you take the wrong side, you take the wrong angle, you know what I mean? YouTube, they might, they might censor you, they might ban your channel. So, um, yeah, man, I looked into it and I was just like, man, this is an absolute mess. But I mean, how far have you looked into like the Deshaun Watson thing? What's your opinion?
I looked far enough where I decided to take a step back and realize I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I'm not one of the girls that came out. I'm not Deshaun Watson. I'm not an agent. I'm a guy who likes to watch the Giants play football and every now and then watch other teams play football. I you know
Right.
I why would like I listen to so much sports talk radio, and like they talk as if the guy's free, but also like as if he like, well, they should have, the Browns should know that like when signing him this would happen. And yeah, it's just kind of, it's crazy what Deshaun Watson, like, I mean, how could he like do like all these, like,
Yeah.
how could he live his life though? It's like, bro, like you're talking as if like he got off on a technicality, but he's definitely guilty. It's like you don't know. Like
Yeah.
no one knows really anything. Like, and
Yeah.
then you hear people go, "Well, the only people that know really are the girls," and it's like they don't even know. Some of them might not even have been
Yeah.
there. They could have lied saying they gave him a massage. Like, I have no fucking clue,
Right.
bro. I have no clue.
So, all right. So here's my take on it. Right. I think there's a fine line between being a fucking creep and just doing weird shit and actually being doing something that's illegal and being a rapist. You know what I'm saying? I
Well,
think
that
there's a
yeah,
fine line.
and that's a bit. That's a listen. There's doing stuff that's illegal, and then there's being a rapist. That those are.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Or just being a fucking creep. Right.
yeah, I don't
And
want to
just
put a
so
jaywalker in the same fucking line as a rapist.
right. No, not at all. But all right. So I'll give you an example. And this is what I thought it was before I looked into it. Right. So I don't know if you remember when um, they were going after like the Me Too movement started, and left and right they were just coming out of the woodworks. Just everybody had a story. Matt Lauer, Aldo, uh, I started with Weinstein, but one of my favorite comedians got caught up in that, Louis C.K.
Louis
Right?
C.K. Yeah, I figured.
So right, but every story was like, yeah, man, this dude just like he tried to pull me in the back and he tried to use his status and all that, like horrible shit, right? Horrible shit. With Louis' thing, right? Louis was just a fucking creep, right? What he did was, this is when he was like a younger comedian and he had these two female comedians and they were all hanging out and they were hanging out in his hotel room. And he was like, yo, what if I just whip my shit out right now? And they were like, whatever, you're not going to do it. Like they thought he was joking. And he was like, and he did it. And they were like, this is fucking weird. We're leaving. So it was like, is that illegal to do something like that? No, not really. I mean, they were grown adults. Is this fucking weird and creepy and just like kind of fucked up? Yeah. So I thought it was gonna be something like that where it was just like he was like mad up front, like this is what I want. This is this type of like I'm specifically going after it to get off. You know what I mean? And if you with it, you with it. If you're not, you're not. And they were probably like, all right, it's whatever. And then after the fact, felt violated and wanted to say something. But from what I heard from some of the testimonies, my man was just like with no warning, just rolling over and had his meat out. Like,
Just a huge old super side. Like, hey, how's it going?
right,
Ah.
right, like so, like right, and
No way. Like that eggplant was just like, ah, la, 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 la.
yeah, like Is so I mean, like I think at the end of the day, right, is and he was telling them like, yo, massage me here, massage me here, and they kept doing it, right? And not I'm not I would never put it back on the victim like, oh, you should have stopped, you should have as soon as you did that, you should have told me to get the fuck out. It's a tough position to be in because you're thinking like, okay, a lot of people want massages different ways. Some people, want just this part of their body massage, this that part of their body. So just going back to what I'm saying, like, is what he did illegal? I don't know, and I think that's why all the criminal charges got dropped. But is what he did like super fucked up and like mad fucking creepy? Yeah, yeah. So I believe it, man. I believe all of it. I think all that shit, and I think what happened was he approached 66 women, and 24 of them like agreed to give him the massage, and I think the other oh, I can't do math right now. I think the other 40 kind of knew what he was about, or maybe got a weird vibe and was like, nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know, man. But now as far as the football standpoint, I think I think the Browns are damned if you do, damned if you don't, man. Not the Browns, but the NFL. Let me put it that way. I think they're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because like if you suspend them for 6 games, then they're gonna be like, oh, that's a slap on the wrist. Or if you suspend them for an entire year, then it's like, well, shit, he didn't go to, he didn't get locked up for it. Like, what the hell, right? So I don't know, man. What do you think?
Yeah, it's funny
What do you
because
think the NFL should do?
well, first off, going to the Browns aspect. Well, actually, first let me go back to the whole fucking like situation because again, I have no idea. Like this all could be a fucking fantasy land. Deshaun Watson might not even exist. This could all be the Matrix
Right.
or whatever. But all right, I'll bring it back to this, and this is all what I think. I don't want this to be like a thing like, oh, you think he deserves this or listen. I've had massages before. I've gone to places where the whole point is to get a massage and then extra. Like I've actually done that. I've lived that life. All right. That fucking happy ending life where the girl's like,
Yep.
oh, it's so big, and I'm over here like, I
Uh-huh.
know it's not big, but thank you so much. You're such a sweetheart. I've lived that life. If
Yeah.
you're booking a massage therapist or a girl who does massages, and she's showing you basically half her ass crack on Instagram, you're not booking her because she gives a dynamite massage. That's not
Yeah.
that's you don't fly a girl across the country because she just knows how to hit my trap, man. There's something about her. She just knows how to dig her elbow into my body. No, come on, what are we doing? But both of you know that. You know that as the person
Right.
getting the massage, and you know that as the person giving the massage.
Yeah.
Going into like the Browns aspect, it's so funny because for so long I've talked like a hella shit about Baker Mayfield, just because
Yeah.
I don't think he's a quality. It the NFL for the past 5+ years now, like you really, really, really need uh, an above average starting quarterback to even have a chance to win a Super Bowl. And I think Baker
Right.
Mayfield is just a low quality starting quarterback. I think at the best he's a backup, but it's because of his personality, it would really be hard for a team to sign him as a backup. I think that's why he's still technically on the Browns. But what's funny is the Browns have not had a quarterback in forever. You finally get a
Since their
quarterback.
inception.
Yeah, since like
They came
Kosar.
back in '98.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So for 2.5 decades, they haven't had a legitimate quarterback. You finally get a guy who, I totally agree is overrated, but he gets you to 11 wins. He gets you to the postseason.
Right.
And within a year, you decide to sign a guy who has like the most litany of sexual assault allegations of all time in NFL history. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to your own organization? It's
Yeah,
craziness,
it's
bro.
crazy.
It's
And
crazy.
the thing is, they knew about this and still gave him 230 million guaranteed.
And-
That makes no
And
sense.
I'm
It's
sure you
ridiculous.
know, like the contract, how they set up the contract, which is like that agent should be signed by every NFL player known to man.
Oh, it's and I think it's hold on, I'm gonna look it up, but I think it's Drew Rosenhaus.
Yes, it is. It
And
is.
yeah, now here's the ironic thing about Drew Rosenhaus. So I don't know if you remember when T.O. came to Philly. Um, Drew Rosenhaus was T.O.'s agent, and T.O. signed such a shitty crap deal for the caliber receiver he was that even like the NFL Players Association was like, T.O., what the fuck are you doing? This deal sucks, man. Like you're worth so much more. I think the Eagles gave him like a 7 year, like $40 million.
Oh,
It was like, yeah, it was like a shitty deal. And that's why he caused such a like a stink. Like after the first year or two, he was like, "What the fuck?" And the Eagles were like, "Nah, you're here." But T.O. wrote a book. He slammed McNabb. He slammed Drew Rosenhaus. He fired Drew Rosenhaus. Like he
he
blamed Drew
sued him or is
Rosenhaus.
trying to sue him.
Yeah, yeah. Like he blamed Drew Rosenhaus for being in that shitty deal, and he blamed McNabb for not helping him get a better deal. So it was so funny, me being an Eagles fan and watching it all unfold. I'm thinking to myself like, damn man, this Drew Rosenhaus, he must be a fucking terrible agent. And then it's just so crazy. What 15 something years later, he's getting somebody at $230 million, and what agents get what like 5% or something like that.
I don't know, and it all could be different. And also, it's always funny because like you could be the name agent, but just because so and so is baseball is huge with this because
Right.
I forget the baseball agent who's like the biggest one. It's on the tip of my tongue, but just it's like real estate. Just because you're a client of so and so doesn't mean you're even talking to so and so. You might be just talking
Right.
to someone who's under him, but definitely with Watson's case, he is talking with Drew Rosenhaus because that's obviously one of the biggest, if not the biggest client he's representing at
Oh
the
yeah.
moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that DeShaun and Drew must have just the moment he inked that deal, they had to like go in the other room, pop champagne, and just go, these fucking suckers.
Yeah. Oh, Scott Boras, I'm thinking for baseball. Yeah, no, dude. But it's weird. They still are like in the waters because, day by day, the season's creeping in and it's
Yeah.
very uncertain what's going to happen. I think a lot of people think he's going to be suspended for at least the first full year.
Think so?
Do I think so?
I think 6 weeks. I think that's what I'm thinking they're gonna land on.
Yeah, it's so weird because it's funny the way people debate this because people will debate, hey, he got alleged this, so the NFL should suspend him as if he was found guilty, which is insane. But then you also get the other half where it's like, hey, he was found innocent, so you shouldn't suspend him at all. It's like, dude, the NFL is their own private business. They can suspend
Right.
whoever for however long they want.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't know how long he'll be suspended. I wouldn't doubt them suspending him for half a season, and he appeals it to 4 to 6 games.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. But yo, man, I got to go back to something you said about Baker. So I I don't know, man. I think he's capable. I think he could be a good quarterback, but you got to think about the shitty situation he was in,
He was in a great
in Cleveland,
situation,
man. Like
dude. The Cleveland's been
he had
stacked the past couple
he had
years.
1 year where he had his first 3 years he had three different coaches. He was just in a really bad, shitty situation. I think if you put him in the right situation, he could be a good quarterback, man.
Yeah, but
That's
I
my
feel like
opinion.
that could have been said for a lot of quarterbacks that have been in Cleveland.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on. I gotta connect you to Bluetooth. Give me a second.
All right, let me pause it for you.
So,
Yeah, you're good.
no, but I mean, all right. So Baker had that one good year when he was 11-5, right?
Yeah, and it was a solid year. It was a solid. He was a great game manager. Like he wasn't just a game manager. He was a great game manager.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know, man. I think he's capable. I think if you get him the right type of weapons, you get him the right type of coaching, he could be top 15. I think. But like you said, I mean, I don't see him leading you to a Super Bowl, but I don't think he's like bottom tier quarterback like everybody says he is.
I think his ceiling at this point is Alex Smith when he was playing for the Chiefs. That's his ceiling.
That's a pretty good ceiling.
That's not a bad ceiling. It isn't. I think he could give you maybe that one game like Alex Smith had against New Orleans in the playoffs, but to make a run with it, it's going to be hard. But that's his ceiling, and I don't think he'll ever really get to that though. He's a little bit
Right.
injury prone at this point.
Right.
He's inaccurate. It doesn't seem like he reads a defense as well as, quarterbacks that are more poised. He does have like upsides. He's better than a lot of quarterbacks at scrambling. He actually has better accuracy than some quarterbacks when the play breaks down and he's out of the pocket. I don't know.
Yeah.
He seems like an amazing backup to like a Russell Wilson type quarterback and a below par starting quarterback overall.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. But I hear that the Panthers, the last thing I read was that the Panthers are actually getting close to a deal with Baker.
That would be amazing because I could see them running the run pass option with McCaffrey and Mayfield. The only problem is I can also see McCaffrey and Mayfield being out for 8 straight weeks with similar injuries because they're both always, at least McCaffrey's always fucking hurt.
Or, yeah, I got you now.
Word. All right. I hear you, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. But transitioning though, I think when you look at all the expectations for some of these teams, so like Russell Wilson, I think has the most pressure on him this year. Biggest target on him. I would say him and Patrick Mahomes got the biggest pressure.
What about Aaron Rodgers?
I think I think at this point we're not expecting the Packers too much.
Yeah, but whoa! Aaron Rodgers he literally won an MVP, and the team won what 13, 14 games.
Yeah, but they went 13. They went 13-3, or 14-3. But for 3 years straight, 3 or 2 NFC Championship losses. They're at the point where the Eagles were. Like when the Eagles lost that second NFC Championship, the second back-to-back, people were done with them. They were like, you know what, fuck this team. We're not expecting them to do anything. They keep losing freaking NFC Championship games. So I think like going into the season, I think if the Packers are 9-8 or 10-7 and they don't make it if they don't even make it past the playoff game, I don't think anybody's surprised. They're just like, you know what, it is what. The window's closed. They did.
I'd be surprised if they won 9 games though in the regular season. That's a big surprise right there.
Well, I mean, all right. You take away Devontae Adams. You got Aaron Rodgers. He's He's 39, 40.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he went downhill. He's won back-to-back MVPs.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not taking it to the next step, and then they fold in the playoffs.
The next step would be a Super Bowl appearance. So, I would totally be surprised if they went from 13-3 NFC Championship game to you went 9-8 and missed the playoffs. That'd be a big difference compared the past 3 seasons. His individual QB starting record literally has been 13-3, 13-3, and 13-3.
Yeah. No, you're right. But windows close, man. Windows close, and I think perception wise, I feel like we're not expecting much from the Packers because it's the same story. And on the other hand, there's so much hype around Russell Wilson that if the Broncos aren't, top 2 or 3 seed, it's going to be a lot of shit. That's what I think.
I gotta admit,
I think him.
If the Broncos, if they were to make the playoffs and get bounced in the first round, actually, I'll say this. If they don't even make the playoffs, I wouldn't be 100% surprised because I like Wilson a lot, but I don't know. There's something about him that it's really weird. What's funny? A lot of quarterbacks a lot of quarterbacks will be talked about as they did really well with the stuff around them. But for some reason, it barely gets brought up with Wilson when his first several seasons in the league, he had literally the best defense in the league and an insane running game. And because of the decision to not run Lynch in the second Super Bowl appearance in Wilson's career, because the decision gets magnified to the umph degree, it's almost like as if we forget Wilson was the quarterback who threw that interception on the goal line. Like, and a lot of
Right.
quarterbacks, if they did that, they would be destroyed for doing that.
Right.
But
Right.
it doesn't get brought up. And since then, no Super Bowl appearances and, semi unhappy endings to a regular season and a little bit injury prone as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but but you got to think about it, man. Marshawn Lynch left, and he's been carrying that team on his back. The Legion of Boom is over; they're going, and you got to think about it this way. Like you look at receivers like Tyler Lockett, Doug Baldwin. And I truly believe that sometimes it's the quarterback that makes the receiver what they are. You know what I mean? Where I don't think a Tyler Lockett is Tyler Lockett if he has, let's call it Baker Mayfield as quarterback, or if he had uh, you know, Case Keenum as his quarterback or something like that. Like Russell Wilson. I think having Russell Wilson and having a quarterback that good. So if you look at what he could do with Jerry Judy, they already got a good run game over there. They got a top 5 defense. I mean, it feels a lot like Legion of Boom all over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now, do you think the same thing with Devontae Adams, that he might have been made a little bit because of Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, that's a good point because Aaron Rodgers does turn these guys and like these no names into big stars, man. Like they come out of nowhere. I felt like, but I don't know, man. I think Devontae Adams is a rare talent. I think he is.
Yeah,
I think,
both can definitely be true. Both can be true.
yeah, yeah, and I think he'll go. I think the Raiders will do what they do, man. I think they'll get caught up in the NFC, not NFC, the AFC West, and I think they're good for like 8 or 9 games. Because you want to talk about like a mid-tier quarterback. I think Derek Carr is mid-tier. I mean he's good, but he's not the guy that's going to get you over the hump, especially in that division. That's going to be crazy, that whole division, man. But where I think Patrick Mahomes kind of has maybe one or two, like his window is closer too, and they were right there, man. Like they should have been the next dynasty. And how crazy is it that Tom Brady just fucking stomped that out? And Tom Brady and the Bucks, like he goes over to the, like he destroys the, like that's the next dynasty. Tom Brady leaves the conference, and he still like destroys your dynasty dreams. And then last year, Mahomes struggled so bad. Like it was, and I remember Mahomes admitting that for his first 3 years in the league, he couldn't read defenses. He just went out there and played like he's raw talent. And then even with Tyreek Hill last year, I mean, he was just throwing these ridiculous interceptions. He was trying to do these underhanded passes. It's a mess. And I think it's going to be even worse without Tyreek. I think next year it's going to be a little come down to earth with Patrick. You know what I mean? Because prior to last year, he could do no wrong. He was the next Tom Brady. He was the guy who was going to be the next Brady from everybody's perception. And I don't know, man. I think he's still in that situation where he probably really can't read defenses like that. He's just going out there playing raw talent. Man. So that's
so you don't think Mahomes can read a defense?
not as well as he should. That's what I'm saying. Not as well as he should.
Come on, I think he can read it. Like we're talking about one of the greatest QBs in the league today. I think as laymen, we can all agree the guy can read a defense.
But I mean, some of those interceptions last year, man. Some of those,
like compared to look at Tannehill's interceptions he threw in his playoff game. I mean, like you know what I mean, like. I would, dude. It's crazy. Real quick, who would you rather have on the Raiders right now, Carr or Mayfield?
I mean, Carr is better than Mayfield. So yeah, I'd rather have Carr.
So and Carr's mid tier is what you would consider him, correct?
Yeah, but I would lump them in the same. I would lump them in that same mid tier category. I just put Carr above Mayfield. But I would kind of lump them in that same.
So you would put them in the same room, but Mayfield's at a smaller table, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I would put him in the middle of the lower room. I'm trying to think of I would put him above like Daniel Jones because he's proven more, but I would put him in the same room.
Really, really.
Yeah,
What
because
about God?
I just see a guy who went out there and slung it, but because the NFL year by year gets more safer to play as a starting quarterback, he wasn't banged up as what he would have been 10, even 5 years ago.
Yeah, true, 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 true. Um, but let's stick to the NFC East, man. How do you got that panning out?
It's so
You're a
weird.
Giants fan. I'm an Eagles fan. What are you thinking?
I actually like.
Top to bottom.
If I was an Eagles fan, I would be happy going into this season. I feel as
Oh
if
yeah,
like you guys have high expectations and low expectations at the same time, and I think that's mainly because it hurts. I think a lot of Eagles fans don't think he's the guy, but he could shock everyone and have like that Mayfield type season where like all of a sudden it's like,
yeah,
holy shit, we just went 11-6 and we have a
right,
quarterback that threw 30 plus touchdowns. I
right.
like Hurts. I want Hurts to do well. I'm at the point in my life I don't listen. If the Eagles go on a fucking playoff run and I start hearing the fans getting a little rowdy, I'll get pissed off. But I like Hurts. I hope he does well. I don't know. I kind of like what they're building down there. And it seems like Dallas year by year loses just another Lego piece on that little
Yeah,
puzzle they built. The Washington
right.
football team should at this point become a fucking women's lacrosse team at this point. I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. And then the Giants, you kind of just
Yeah,
shrug your shoulders like we'll see. We're going to try this again with Daniel Jones.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'd be, I would be highly shocked if when it's all said and done, it's not either the Eagles or the Cowboys.
Oh,
When it's all said
definitely.
and done.
If
Yeah,
that's the bet, I would bet almost a house on that.
yeah.
If the Giants or the what is it? Is it the Guardians or what's the Washington's team?
Commanders or some shit.
The Cumrags. Or the
Commanders.
commies. They're the commies. All right.
Yeah, promise.
If the commies or the Yankees, aka the Giants, if they win the division, there has to be less than a 5% chance of that happening.
Yeah, yeah. Unless, unless, unless we get 2017 Carson Wentz, because
True.
if you think about it, if he can, good Carson Wentz is the best quarterback in that division right now. It's better than Dak, better than Daniel Jones, better than Hurts. If he's good Carson Wentz, if he can beat 2017 Carson Wentz. And think about what the Eagles had in 2017. We had a fucking really good defense. We had a good running game. And all Wentz needed was that receiver that was going to stretch the field. And Alshon Jeffrey in that 2017 season was a fucking lifesaver, man. So, like, if he can have that same connection with Terry McLaurin and they can figure out the run game and that defense goes back to what it was in, what was it, 2019 when Washington had, like, one of the best defenses. Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. Carson Wentz can somehow get back to his old self. And the crazy thing about Carson, and this is what frustrated Eagles fans for so long, is that last season, the season that just passed,
Hmm.
up until the last two games, Carson looked exactly like 2017 Carson. We were like, he wasn't on the MVP run. We were like, yo, he's back. The Colts are good. They got the best running back. They got Jonathan Taylor. They got a really good defense, and the Colts are definitely making the playoffs. And then the last two games, he just shit the bed against crappy teams like fucking Jaguars. I think they won. What did they win? 3 games last year.
I forget what they won, but it was. I think they won
Like
double
two.
the games they won
Like and
when
it,
they had Meyer as the coach.
yeah, and it was like, dude, like that's your legacy, man. Great talent, great quarterback. Like you were back, and I think it's so crazy that the owner of the Colts was so fucking annoyed just by those last two games that he was like, I'm done with this guy. I'll rather have Matt Ryan hasn't done anything in years. You know what I mean? Like I'm done with you, man. So I don't know, man. But then he's with Ron Rivera, and Ron Rivera. Look what he was able to do with Cam Newton.
Yeah,
Who knows?
it's funny with Wentz because, it, dude, I heard so many people shitting on him for last year's season. I'm like, he actually had a fairly good season. Like, I don't understand. It's you know what it is.
It's
It's when you make a really good first impression in the sports world, you oversold, and then the rest of your career it seems
right.
like you're under delivering. It's like
Yeah.
he's first off, he did what Carr did. Like unlike Mayfield, him and Carr have had that really good season, but sadly was stunted by injury. Like Carr at one point was an
Right.
MVP consideration
Yeah.
early in his
Yeah.
career,
True.
and even Andy
True.
Dalton had a season like that. But then
Right.
there was a turnover. He tried tackling the guy and broke his wrist, like some crazy shit.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
if Wentz he is a wild card, but think about what you said. If he can have that season from 2017, it's like it's been 5 years. That's a lot of
Yeah.
time for
True.
him. That is at the bare minimum 1/3 of a quality starting NFL QB's career. It's like
Right.
you can't. How long can you wait? It's hard to wait. So
Right.
yeah, if he has an amazing, like if he has a great season like 2017, like holy shit. But it would at this point be surprising if he did that.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Eagles versus Commanders. That first game is it's gonna be lit, man. Because you got the guy who placed you basically, you know, kicked you out of Philly. I mean, if that don't put a fire under his ass, I don't know what will, man.
Yeah, I mean, you get to play Philly twice, and you get to play
It's
against.
ironic, man. That's
Yeah, you get to play against a quarterback who's semi-similar. I mean, like at the end of the day, Hurts is a running type, scrambling quarterback.
right, right. That's right, man. Yeah, man. What about your guy, Daniel Jones? Wow.
It's weird with him because um hmm. It's so weird with him. Like I see a guy who had you know who it reminds me of? Do you watch baseball at all?
Nah, really.
There's a player for the Yankees called Aaron Hicks. And
Okay.
he has all the physical capabilities that you think would make a top flight MLB player. But he's
Right.
dealt with injuries for the majority of his career, and even when he plays, he's underwhelming. And that's what Daniel Jones is. Like, it's not the fact that he's injured all the time. It's also because
Yeah.
when he plays, he's not that great. Like, you see glimpses of it. You might see a drive or two. You might even see one full game, but when like you take all of his healthy games, there's a lot of bad ones in there. But I'll say this: I'm actually happy that they're deciding to take one more year at it with him, because for
Yeah.
a lot of people think like they've thought for a while that he's not the guy. And all right, whatever. If you think that, whatever. This would definitely be the year for me to be like, all right, if he doesn't do it this season, then no, I don't even care. I don't even care. You know what? If they don't sign him and he decides to go to another team and light it up, then so be it. Then the time it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's time to just cut bait with this. But this is definitely 100% his final chance with the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I get upset
And that,
about our Giants fans going, well, what if he has a great year? Then you're gonna have to sign him to a big contract. It's like you're a fan of the football team and you're afraid that your starting quarterback has a great year. What? What else are you afraid of? Lifetime blowjobs? Like what the what the fuck kind of what fear is this? I don't
right.
understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird, man. It's weird. So, and it's kind of the same feeling. I mean, Eagles fans aren't saying that, but on one hand, we're thinking like, all right, what if Hurts does have a really good year, but it just turns like it could be one of those flash in the pan like one-off things. You know what I mean? So I think with them, it's more like, look, he might have a one-off good year, but then you re-sign him, and then he's stuck with the fucking guy, and he might have the next 2-3 seasons be shitty. So, but I like Hurts for his work ethic. I like his determination to be a leader. I think takes him a far way, and if he can work on his accuracy, He's good, man. That's all. That's the only thing I saw. Like I watched a lot of film with the Eagles because I'm an Eagles fan. The only thing I really see is his deep ball accuracy, and he works on that. He'd be all right, man. And when you think about it, like the same thing with Lamar Jackson. His first, I want to say, year, maybe 2 seasons, we were like, all right, this guy's dynamic. He's in this like run first offense with the Ravens. He looks really good, but man, if the guy can't throw the fucking ball past 10 yards, he's never gonna be great. And he like each year he progressively got better as a thrower of the football. So not to compare Jalen Hurts with Lamar Jackson, but I see that type of similarity. When we first watched Lamar, if he wasn't tucking and running, man, he threw that ball in the air like shit. We were like, what the hell? So right, his first when he first took over for Joe Flacco, and he first took over, and he won all those games, man. Like it was very Tim Tebow-esque. Like it was like, all
Oh
right,
my
man,
god.
like this guy can run. It was, man, but it was like he threw the ball deep, man. You had to hold your breath. You were like, oh, I don't know where the hell that thing's gonna land, but he got so much better, man. And I think he was willing to work at it. You know what I mean? So that's what Eagles fans want to see from Hurts. We want to see that deep ball accuracy, and then if you got Devontae Smith on one side and AJ Brown on the other, you really don't got an excuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're building around him. He's only been in the league for 2 years. Like, I mean, it amazes me how fans will just be like, "Oh, I can just tell he doesn't got it." It's like, dude,
Right,
I think the main reason fans say that is because it's such an easy bet. It's like there's a way greater chance that someone doesn't have it compared to someone having
yeah,
it. So it's so easy to
right,
say. It's like, dude, the guy's played 2 years. His first season, he played what, 4 or 5 games? So it's
right.
like he's had one, full season basically. Like, all right, now you go into the next year and you hope he progresses. Like, why would you just give up all of a sudden, like, like that?
Right. Yeah, yeah, man. And think about like back in the day, in the '90s and the '80s, how many chances these goddamn quarterbacks had, man. Like they would suck their first 3 or 4 years, and that was like commonplace. I mean, what did Peyton Manning threw like what 27 interceptions his first year?
Yeah,
Like,
dude, it's the
and then
same thing with Eli Manning. Like, they were ready to get rid of him
yeah,
and the coach his fourth year. They go 0-2, and then, oh, okay, they go 10-6 and win the Super Bowl. It's like, oh my God, we always loved you. It's like,
right,
no, you didn't. You all wanted him gone. After the first season, some of you probably wanted him gone.
right, right. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Um,
the NFL's a funny. It's funny. I mean, most pro sports are funny the way. I gotta admit, I was thinking about the other day because I don't know if you're on Twitter a lot. I've been recently off it lately. But I've been watching baseball like crazy now because the Yankees are crushing it.
yeah,
If MLB Twitter got into a meme war with NBA Twitter, it wouldn't even be
yeah,
like it would be an obliterate. Like the NBA meme war, like memes from NBA
yeah,
Twitter would destroy baseball. It wouldn't even be
yeah,
close. Oh, dude, like NBA fans on Twitter are like insane. Like they're insane. Like they literally deserve to be in insane asylums. But the memes they
right,
make are fucking crazy funny. Where MLB, like some of their memes are just like their best memes are terrible. They wouldn't stand a chance. It'd be
yeah.
like a nuclear bomb versus a pop pistol.
Well, I mean, if it's anything like watching baseball highlights, then
Oh,
dude, I'm sorry, man. Baseball is the most boring
oh
fucking
my
sport.
God! Fuck you! Oh really? Have you watched lacrosse? Have you decided to watch lacrosse at all?
But no, this is funny, man. Like I go to the bar a lot. I'm a drinker, and during baseball season, it's like, all right, so you're at the bar, and they have games in the background, and unless like your hometown's playing, you got the jukebox playing. You got like you're not really listening to it. So if there's a football game on, you got the highlights, you got the slow motion, you got the hitting, you got the close ups, the yelling. With basketball, you got the dunking in your face, you got the slow mo while you shooting the three. Baseball is like you can't even do fucking highlights in baseball. It's
You're the
it's
worst. You're
so
the worst.
oh man, like I'm sitting at the bar and they're showing the baseball game
Uh huh.
and they always do highlights when they cut to commercial, and I'm like, dude, even the highlights are boring, man.
Dude,
Yeah,
all
man.
right.
But I get a lot of shit for that.
Well, real quick. So when you're at the bar, what are you usually drinking?
I'm a gin and tonic guy, man. Gin and tonic or vodka tonic. I got
Vodka
to keep it
and
light. I can't drink dark.
gin and tonic. I gotta admit, when I'm drinking, I'm usually Jack and Coke or a regular beer.
Jack and Coke. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I like to get straight to the point, so I don't drink a lot of beer. I'm one of those people that drink to get drunk. So it's got to be 80 proof, you know. But I try to, early in my youth, my early 20s, I was slipped into like really bad alcoholism. I was drinking every day, gained a lot of weight, and then I started to look in the mirror and I was like, man, you look like shit. So
Damn, man, I'm
I
fat
was
as
like, well, what's the
fuck.
problem?
Looking like fucking Jamal. All right, go ahead. I was,
So,
you know, I was trying. I couldn't think of him. Who was the Raiders quarterback that they drafted? Like, who was like the biggest bust?
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus, right? I fucking froze so bad. I'm like, oh, this joke's going right in the toilet.
Hey, did you ever hear the story?
Yes,
I know you heard.
I already know.
Story.
I already know what
The
you're gonna
blank-
say. The blank
the
tape,
blank
the
tape.
VHS tape. Yes, it's one of the greatest stories because you know why it's great.
Man.
You want to know why it's great? Is because
What?
everyone who's ever lived has had a moment like that happen to them in their life.
Oh yeah.
And it's so relatable. Like, oh yeah, no, oh yeah, no.
I saw it. I
And
watched it.
everyone
Man.
can act like a saint on Twitter, but they all know they've had a moment like that, and it's the worst feeling in because like it's like, oh man, I'm stupid, and they know I'm lying. That's terrible.
Right. And you know what? It just. I don't think he gave a shit, but
Yeah, true.
Speaking of Jamarcus Russell, like we need to update like our like perceptions because we need to stop saying Ryan Leaf is the biggest bust in the NFL because since Ryan Leaf, there's been so many. Jamarcus Russell, number one, biggest, like he's a huge bust. He's way bigger than Ryan.
Oh well,
Leaf,
people definitely bring him
probably,
up for biggest bust though. They definitely do.
Yeah, but every time I see like a countdown list, it's like Ryan Leaf, right? And I think we get so stuck, like NFL fans, when there's a moment, we get so caught on that moment that we refuse to budge. And I think Ryan Leaf was the first of his kind. He was the first Jamarcus Russell. He was the first. I mean, let's call it like Brandon Weeden or Johnny Manziel. Not that he had the personality of Johnny Manziel. But
Johnny Manziel is definitely up there. Brandon Weeden.
Yeah,
you could even
Brandon
say,
Weeden.
And it sucks because it's kind of like lawyer talk. It's like, all right, I understand what you're saying, but at least specify. Like David Wilson was a running back picked from the Giants, and I think he was picked 32nd overall. So I don't know if that was their first pick or if that was like their second pick, also in the first round. But he was picked in the first round. And he was a running back, and he sadly had to retire within the second season because of neck injuries. But so like you can call that a bust, but at least specify that it was because of injuries, which is why he had to leave the NFL.
Yeah, but then also he was number 32. I think if you're looking at biggest bust, you got to be in that top, at least top 15.
Actually, I think they picked him after they won the Super Bowl, so technically that was their first pick in the draft because they won.
Yeah, that's basically the second round.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, because Buster usually looked at like the top 10 kind of picks.
Now you know who's the biggest bust of all time, and it's not. At least if we concentrate on quarterbacks, the biggest bust of all time, and it's totally not his fault. Josh Rosen.
Oh my God!
What happened to that kid is so fucked up, man. It's like this dude literally. You want to talk about people that never got a chance? This guy never got a fucking chance. Man.
Well,
like, who doesn't have a bad?
He did have. Listen, his rookie year, he had a chance, and it was a bad rookie year. But after that, Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but so was Josh Allen. Josh Allen's rookie year was fucking horrible.
you know why he gets
Like,
thought. You know why he gets forgotten about so bad. I think because of the pandemic.
yeah, yeah.
He might be. Well, is he still in the league? Is he on Atlanta right now?
I think he's a backup somewhere. He was last year. I
Rosen
don't
is
know
an
where this
American
guy
football
is.
quarterback who is. Oh, he's a free agent. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
and he might not get a chance, man. Like,
He might be the biggest bust in NFL history.
yeah, and it's totally honest. He never got a chance, man.
I wouldn't say
And
it's
then
not his fault. I mean, but I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. But Ryan Leaf
so
was only in the NFL for 3 years. Josh Rosen was in the NFL for it looks like 4 years. Yeah, he's up there. Oh no, 3 years.
yeah,
Jesus Christ. I don't even like.
yeah,
I forgot about him because he was in a draft where there was 4 other quarterbacks. It was him,
right.
I think Mayfield, Darnold, Allen,
Darnold.
and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
really, the
and-
only two to really pick, the cream of the crop is really Allen and Jackson.
Yeah, yeah, really. And nobody saw that coming. Everybody thought it was going to be big. Like, at the end of draft night, it was if Baker or Darnold was going to be like
Yes,
the
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
People talked about
Yeah.
Allen's upside, but they never thought he was
Yep.
going to be able to materialize it, but he has now.
Right.
I mean, it's been proven that he has. You're
Yeah.
100% right. It was Darnold and Mayfield that were thought
Yeah.
of as the best of those 5.
And then going back to my original point of Baker Mayfield, it's like those also were the two that were put. I mean, Josh Rosen aside, but they were put in the worst situations. Because I mean, the Jets fucking stuck, man. They stink. The Browns stink, like they as an organization. So, what? But at least Darnold got a second chance with Carolina.
He did, and he had a
Uh,
really great first 3 games of the season. And then he just, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, man.
I don't understand
Speaking of
what
that,
happened.
Yeah. So
They literally gave him the receiver from the
Yeah.
Jets. It's like, here,
Yeah.
we'll give you one of the guys you're comfortable with. It's like, all right, cool.
Right.
I won't fuck this up. You fucked it up. What happened?
Right now, imagine Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold battling for that starting role. How ironic would that be?
I could totally see it. It's like, at this
Yeah.
point, it's not even like I think a very easy thing to say is, well, Sam Darnold's more consistent and Mayfield gives you better upsides. Like, no. Sam Darnold is consistently bad at this point. Like, I
Right.
mean,
Right.
he is a
Right.
traditional backup. He can come in, run the playbook, have one game that might be good, but you don't want to see him for a full season. I think he's proven that at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I'm looking out for. What do you think about Tomlin having his first losing season in his entire career? You think that happens this year?
I was gonna say because I don't think that
It's never happened.
whether it happens or not, it blows my mind how many people want him to be like not a head coach. It's like, I mean,
I don't get that, man.
I don't get it. I don't get. It's like, dude, I love Andy Reid. I love Andy Reid to
Yeah.
the umpth degree. Look at his resume and Tomlin's resume. Is it that different?
Yeah.
Is it really that different?
It's not, man. I mean, you could take it a step further. I mean, never mind. I mean, Belichick has 5, 6 Super Bowl rings, but no, I mean,
he has 6. Yeah,
but I'm saying
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
I mean, Belichick aside, if you take away Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin is the greatest coach in this era. Hands down. I mean,
I would
the man's
say
never had a losing record.
Well, okay, and that's not a listen. That's definitely a notch under his belt.
You know how hard that is to do in the NFL, man.
I am
never
not-
have a losing record.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but this is like that Jordan LeBron debate. It's like just because one person
Yeah.
did something better doesn't mean the other person was absolute shit.
Right.
I would say a good amount of coaches you can put in there are Andy. Like take Belichick out of it because his resume is just
Right,
it's
right.
not it's superhuman. It's like if you picked 99 overall on Madden for everything.
Right. Right.
You can put Coughlin, Peyton, Tomlin, Reed, and you can even put in Harbaugh for the Ravens in there. I feel like
Yeah, I'd put him in there. Yeah.
I feel like that's I feel like that's a solid mix of coaches, and then you can go from there. Like you can have Coughlin, who had amazing success with an expansion team with the Jaguars, a 14-2 record where they only lost to one team 3 times. That's why they didn't make the Super Bowl, and then won 2 Super Bowls with a totally different team in a totally different conference. That's an amazing feat. Then you have Andy Reid. You know what he did with the Eagles, which is, what was it, 5 conference championships?
Yep.
I mean, is it 3 or 5? It's 3, right?
We went to 3. We won 1.
Okay, 3 conference championships. You win 1. He then goes to what? 3 with the Chiefs, wins 2, and wins.
No, I'm sorry. Hold on. No. We went to 5 and won 1.
You did go to 5.
He went to 5. Yeah.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah, he went to 5, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Think about what that one Super Bowl does for his legacy. That one Super Bowl goes from being the biggest, like, can't win the big one kind of thing to, he's one of the greatest coaches who's ever lived.
Flop. Yeah. Now, ironically, right, my favorite Super Bowl of all times is the Cardinals and Steelers. I think it was 2008.
That was 2008, where the Cardinals, I think, were 8-8 in that season.
I think you're right, but it was like the resurgence of Kurt Warner, because remember he was the man. He went to the Rams, he did his thing, and then he went over to. He was at the Giants at one point.
He was at the Giants. He got cut. He got cut, but they were 5-4. They sat him down for Eli because they knew it was going to be the future. And then it was almost like, okay, so I'm sorry, the 2008 they were 9-7. But it was like, okay, is my career done? Like, what are we doing here? And then, boom, he goes to the Cardinals and has this resurgence.
To the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Right. You had that. You had a young Roethlisberger. I mean, it was great. And then the game itself was just fucking awesome. Now, that was Andy Reid's.
That was the catch with
That was the catch.
Santonio Holmes.
With, Yes. That was a great Super Bowl. That's my favorite Super Bowl of all time.
That's a fair one. My favorite one obviously is the Giants-Patriots, but I totally get yours too. Well, also, by the way, your favorite Super Bowl should be the fucking Nick Foles one, but I get what you're saying.
Well, I mean, it was so. All right, if I'm being biased, that was like my emotional, personal.
You're a fan. That's fine.
But if I'm if I take my Eagles fan hat off, I think just the game itself, that was a better game. But that was the 5th NFC Championship loss for Andy Reid, and the Eagles were close. That was the year where we needed, like, literally Jesus Christ himself to come down and get the Eagles in the playoffs. Like, we needed, like, literally, you know how they have this, like, laundry list of shit that needs to happen for one team to get in, like, every year.
Yeah, I don't remember in that scenario, but I get what, like, the last one I remember. The earliest one I remember was when the Jets went like 9-7. Or something like that. And I remember like a game before the Jets made the playoffs, that first AFC Championship run with Sanchez and Rex Ryan, literally like 1 or 2 games before, I think the Jaguars and another team were 7-7. It could have been the Colts. I forget exactly. But Rex Ryan goes on like a post-game press conference like, well, I guess we're mathematically eliminated. It's like, no, coach, you actually have a chance. It's just highly unlikely you'll make it. And lo and behold, they make it. Right.
But, so, I mean, it's the same thing with the Eagles, but made it. Almost had a chance to beat the Cardinals. Now, the funny thing is, again, Eagles fan hat, I was upset. I was really upset that we didn't get number one. We didn't get an all Pennsylvania Super Bowl, which every Eagles fan wants that, and that the Eagles didn't make it. But had the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl, they would have got fucking annihilated by the Steelers.
You think so?
We would have missed out on one of the best Super Bowls ever. It would have been. They would have just wiped the floor with the Eagles if we would have made it.
And that could have at least gave you a clear cut who's better between Reid and Tomlin right there, because you could always go back to that Super Bowl like, well, so and so's team beat so and so. I would say if I were to stack the 5 coaches I said before, who was it? Tomlin, Reid, Peyton, Coughlin, and
Yeah.
Harbaugh.
Yep.
I think I would put Harbaugh 5. I would put Peyton 4. I'd put Coughlin 3. I'd put Tomlin 2 and Reed 1.
I like that, man, and I think you're being a little bit. All right, so look,
You're being
Coughlin has
biased
two
to
Super Bowls.
Coughlin, aren't you?
Coughlin has 2 Super Bowls, but
Can't
I
take
mean,
that
if we're
away.
talking about,
Can't take that away.
you can't take it away, but I mean, we talk about consistency. I mean, the Giants were like, they would have some really shitty. They had some really shitty years in between those Super Bowls.
They
man.
definitely won. To win 2 Super Bowls with the teams I mean, that 9-7 team. All right, how about this question? Out of those 5 coaches I just brought up, Reed's 2 main quarterbacks were McNabb and Mahomes, right? And
you can throw in Alex Smith.
Yeah, you can actually. You know what? He's had 3 really. I feel like it's fair to say.
Right.
Tomlin had Roethlisberger. That's it. Just 1.
Right.
In terms of main quarterbacks, Peyton had Breeze.
Point.
That's it. Just 1.
Good point.
Who was the other one outside of Coughlin? Harbaugh?
Yeah.
Harbaugh had Flacco, and now Lamar Jackson, and then Coughlin has had Eli, and you could say Mark Brunell as well. I mean, Reed has had a good amount of quarterbacks to work with.
Right.
Peyton had Breeze. Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh and Coughlin are the 2 most you can relate to, because Flacco was like a lesser version of Eli.
Yeah, and they built that around defense, man. And same thing with the Giants. I mean, those two Super Bowls that was mainly just the Giants just had a really good defense, man.
No. And I love you, but I hate when people say this. And you can call me an Eli apologist. That fucking 2011 team was not this amazing. They were they were 27th when it comes to points allowed or yards. I forget. They were not a great defense in the regular season.
Wait, hold on. Maybe you're right. But which was the year where it was straight hands last year? That was the
first
right?
one. That was 100% the defense. But still, Eli had to put on a good regular. But it's at the end of the day, Coughlin's the head coach for that. You know?
Yeah. True.
Coughlin's been to 4 conference championships. He's won 2. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He has, I would say, if you put his prime resume against those other 4 coaches, outside of Reed, I think he's above them or tied with a few. I think the other ones have had way more longevity.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Who would what would your list be off the top of your head with those 5?
Yeah, so with those 5, we say Tomlin, Reed, Harbaugh, Coughlin, and Peyton. Number 1 would be Tomlin, because just the fact that he's got 1 Super Bowl just like Andy, but the fact that you've been in the NFL so long and never had a losing record, man, I can't get over that. And not just that, but he's dominated that division, and think about all the time. He's been consistent with Roethlisberger, but he's had a ton of turnover, man, on offense and defense. They got to a point where every time it felt like the Steelers would get a really good receiving core, they'd be gone. Santonio Holmes was gone the next year after that Super Bowl. It was I don't know, man. So him 1, Reed 2, Harbaugh 3, Coughlin 4. And then I got Peyton 5.
You got Peyton all the way dead last, or you have Harbaugh over Peyton.
I got. You know what?
It's hard to do it when it's off the bat.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why.
All right, go ahead.
Because that Super Bowl that Peyton won was classic Peyton Manning being a choke artist.
Oh,
Peyton Manning.
You can't call a guy who went to the playoffs almost every year, went to 4
dude was a major fucking choke artist, man. Come on,
choke artist. Come on, I think that's harsh to say.
Dude, listen, Super
While
Bowl
we're
1
over
was
here eating bonbons watching the game.
Look, man, Super Bowl 1 was a I mean, that was a gimme, man. Anybody could have beat the Bears in that Super Bowl. The Bears shouldn't have even been
Dude,
there.
how did the Bears make the Super Bowl that year?
I don't know. Like I don't.
To
I
this
have
day,
no idea.
to this day, I got no idea.
Dude, like it's like if you ever simulate. It's like if you ever play Madden and simulate the entire season, and then you get to the Super Bowl and be like, how the fuck did they
Hey,
get
to
there?
be fair,
Right?
they had a really good defense that year, and what stops a good offense? A good defense, and the Colts were still able to win. So I mean, come on.
That was anybody in the AFC could have beat them, and then Super Bowl II, man. I mean, come on, man. That Broncos team was so stacked. He probably could have put me out there. No, I'm kidding.
No, that wasn't the third Super Bowl he went to was with the Broncos.
No, but he only won 2, right? He won one with the Colts and one with the Broncos.
Yeah, but he went to 2
3.
Super Bowls with the Colts. He went to 4 Super Bowls.
Okay, yeah, no, true. But
when the Saints beat Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl, that was against the Colts.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, but what I'm saying is that the Saints won because Peyton choked in that game, man. They should have won that game. And
I have a question. Did Peyton Manning ever have a Hall of Fame coach behind him?
Tony Dungy, man, come on.
He's not gonna. He might not make the Hall of Fame. By the way, I like Tony Dungy. I love Tony Dungy. I love what he says. He's like, I always love to trade down in the draft. The more draft picks, the better. I love in terms of I love when he says stuff like that. But if he makes the Hall of Fame, those other 5 coaches we just brought up, they're almost locked to make the Hall of Fame.
All right, so maybe he's not Hall of Fame, but he's a great fucking coach, man. He's a really good coach. And
okay, well, there's a difference from Mahomes with Reed and Belichick to Brady and Tomlin to Roethlisberger and Coughlin to Eli. Like there's a difference from a Hall of Fame coach and hey, a guy who had a really great coaching career, which by the way, I agree, Dungy had.
Yeah. But
I can't say someone who was in the league for over a decade and a half, who went to 4 Super Bowls, who won 2 Super Bowls as the starting QB. I can't go, well, that's a choke artist right there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, he redeemed himself. He redeemed himself a lot towards the end, especially when he went over to the Broncos. But
would you consider Cam Newton a choke artist?
Well, I mean, he had that one good run, man. Like
So
I
that's almost unfair. It's almost like someone gets penalized basically for being really successful in other aspects. It's like Peyton Manning was so good in the regular season, and he did. By the way, he's 4-2 against Tom Brady in the conference championship. People forget, like, he has a winning record when it comes to winning the conference against Brady. But a lot of people don't bring that up. It's I can't. Did he have his best games in the Super Bowl? No. Was he better in the regular season than the postseason? Yes. A lot of quarterbacks are like that. But I would never say he's a choke artist. I just can't. He has a Super Bowl MVP. He went to 4 and he won 2.
Yep. But yo, man, I gotta cut it short. I got my little daughter here, and she's ready for me, man. She's giving me the evil look. But yo, bro, always good talking with you, man. We gotta do this again soon, bro.
Dude, next time we have time where we both can sit down and not have things going on, it would be great. I feel like we could talk for hours.
Yeah, man, absolutely, bro. Let me know when you post it. I'm gonna put it all over my page and have people come to check it out.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'll hit you up. All right, have a good time with you and the rest of your day. All right.
All right, you too, brother.
Later.
I'll see you.